Welcome to checking out military aircraft models together with a guy who does not know anything about military aircraft. Yay! But in all seriousness, we can do this thanks to the great prices of the FMB shop. Do check them out. The link to them is in the video description below. So with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A330 MRTT of the Royal Air Force. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside. We have the roundel of the RAF and a crest, could be of the squadron or something else, I don't know much about that. On the back side of the box, well, we have the usual terrible box design of Herpa Wings, which means yet another cutout. And here she is, the Royal Air Force VIP Voyager in the Global Britain livery. Now, this is a customized RAF Voyager KC-3, also known as an A330 MRTT, which was named Vespina and is, well, exclusively used as a VIP transport aeroplane for the British royal family, Prime Minister and British government ministers. It was, of course, also briefly known as Boris Force 1. Now, I still don't know anything about military aircraft, so everything I just told you, well, comes from Wikipedia. So instead of getting held up with things that I know nothing about, let's figure out what the model itself actually has to offer collectors, because that is something I know something about. And we start our tour on the aircraft model with the look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer, of course, have a stylized version of the Union Jack. We do also find these kind of black and yellow stripes, more on that later. The yellow and black stripes we also find on the fuselage. Here we also have the roundel and branding of the Royal Air Force and the military registration code of the aircraft, Zulu Zulu 336. Towards the very tail of the aircraft, we then also have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. And if we move to the front of the aircraft and on top of the fuselage, here we also find the addition of a set dome. A good thing, I guess, given that the aircraft has been added with a secure satellite communication system. Now, what else can we find here at the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage? Now, of course, we have the writing of United Kingdom. Furthermore, we have more of these yellow and black stripes, which are kind of position markers, which help other aircraft identify it when refueling from this MRTT in low light conditions or when flying without beacons. Furthermore, we find the Union Jack on each of the two front cabin doors. We have the RAF roundel and the RAF branding, and we also have some static ports, so that's quite lovely. The cockpit section itself, however, can't quite keep up with that amount of detailing. Here we simply have the cockpit windows and the window wipers printed on. Now, while I understand that Herpa won't be modifying the mold of the A330 for two small humps, which this aircraft in real life does have right behind the cockpit windows, at least they could have added it as a printed detail. Unfortunately, I can't show you what I'm talking about because I don't have an image of the aircraft, but just Google search it and you will see what I mean. Now, moving on to the engine nacelles, which have been kept in all white, just as most of the fuselage, but we do have the silver leading edge as well as safety relevant markings printed on, so that's quite lovely. The physical detailing of the engines is also excellent, as always with Herpa's A330 engines. This is definitely one of their strong suits. Then we should also take a quick look at the wings, starting off with the top side, where we on both sides find the RAF roundel printed on. We also have the flap slats and spoilers carved out very nicely here on the top side. The underside then again offers us the roundel on both sides. We also have the full registration code of the aircraft alongside more lovely physical detailing. Of course, a highlight here on those wings is also these kind of refueling rods. I'm not sure what the exact terminology for this kind of equipment is, but this is basically from where the aircraft can refuel other aircraft. And we have some really lovely physical detailing, but also very great printed details on this part of the aircraft. Furthermore, we of course also have the winglets, which continue the color scheme of the Union Jack. Very lovely indeed. Then we of course also have the landing gear, which is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all the A330s, which is a good thing because it generally looks quite lovely. The only thing I'm missing here are printed details around the front landing gear. That is, as always, a letdown with Herpa Wings, but we do find more printed details on the belly of the aircraft. Of course, we also have a hole in the fuselage for a stand, which is not included with this aircraft model. Quite silly, but at least we have printed details. And yes, they're basically just stripes, but every little bit helps. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and also here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A330 MRTT or RAF Voyager KC3 in the Global Britain livery. From Herpa Wings on scale 1 to 500, and what can we say about this aircraft model? Yes, there are some small humps missing on the aircraft model, some defensive systems, I guess, anti-missile systems or stuff like that, which the rear aircraft does have, but on the other hand, having to modify an existing mold would have made the model much more expensive, but I think Herpa could have added some of these details as printed details instead. But okay, overall I think this once more proves that Herpa does do quite well with military aircraft. The overall standard of the model is great. We have lots of detailing, the print quality itself is fine, although also here you have to be careful because, I mean, this is an example of what Herpa also managed to sell. So yeah, you pretty much always need to check the models before you buy them, which can be difficult, I know, but this is Herpa and we can't trust them when it comes to quality control. But still, I think this is overall a great model. As I say, military aircraft is something where Herpa always excels, at least for the most part, and this is once more an example of that. Now, Herpa's official retail price of 34 euros is still steep for such a model, but with military aircraft, as we can see, you at least do get a little bit more detailing than usually with civilian aircraft models. But I can still not condone this price. With that, we have reached the end of this video. If you have enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? With that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.